G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. I do hope you enjoyed today's stories, and with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, and let's get right into it. Posted by user OrganicLet5948, titled, Am I the asshole for threatening my wife with divorce after she quit her job to be a tradwife? I don't even know where to begin with this. Me, 34 male, and my wife, 33 female, have 2 kids together, 11 male and 9 female. My wife and I have been together for 12 years and have been married for 8. Around a year ago, I noticed my wife increasingly sending me these tradwife or traditional housewife TikToks. I have nothing against that type of relationship, but I don't think it makes sense for our current family situation. I do earn quite a bit more than my wife, and enough to sustain our family on my own, but I don't see the need to do so. I work 80% and my wife 50%, and besides Wednesdays where the both of us are working, either one of us is always home for the kids. I could work 100% and let my wife be a stay-at-home mum, but again, both of my kids are attending school, and in my mind, there is no need for my wife to be at home 24/7. She got increasingly pushy about it over the past 2 months, and again I just kept on telling her that there wasn't any need for that, and if we did decide to go down that route, what would she do during the hours that my kids attended school? I know damn well that our house doesn't need to be cleaned for 6 hours a day. She would constantly try to butter me up with, you would have dinner ready every day when coming home from work, and something about unlimited blowjobs or some BS like that. Again, in the nicest way possible, I would remind her that our kids weren't toddlers, and our current work-life schedule allowed us to function perfectly fine. We got into a pretty heated argument 2 weeks ago about it, and my wife completely stopped having sex with me to show me what I would be missing out on. She basically has been treating me like a roommate ever since. I just thought that she would get over it and that this was just a phase, but God was I wrong. I came home from work yesterday and saw a bunch of presents on the dining table. At first I thought they were all for me since my birthday was in a week, but I then saw the labels on them addressed to my wife. I read one of the letters attached to one of the presents. The last sentence on it was literally, "It was such a pleasure working alongside you, and I wish you all the best moving forward." I thought this was some sick prank. A few minutes later, my wife just casually strolled into the living room acting like nothing was wrong. I guess she saw my mad expression and had the audacity to tell me that, "You'll get over it." I just lost it. I just left without saying another word and then went to my parents' house. I feel absolutely disrespected. Why the hell would my wife think that it was okay to just quit her job without telling me and just expect me to be fine with it? My wife has been bombarding me with texts and calls, demanding to know where I am and that the kids miss me. I just told her to go find a lawyer and that I was done with her and then proceeded to block her. My son just sent me a voicemail crying and asking why I was divorcing mum and if I was leaving the family. And I guess that kind of broke my heart. I haven't responded and honestly don't know what to say to him. My mother-in-law has also been demanding that I return home and apologize to my wife. My parents also seem to be siding with my wife since they are traditional Muslims. My mum also used to be a stay-at-home mother. I feel like I'm wrong for immediately jumping to divorce without hearing her out. And besides this whole job drama, I love my wife too much for this to be the end of our otherwise perfect marriage. But on the other hand, I feel like I've completely lost trust in her. Should I just swallow my pride and let my wife stay at home from now on? Or should I follow through on divorcing her? How should I navigate this situation? Am I the asshole here? About their religion, OP says, "Thank you, but we aren't strict Muslims. Yes, we pray, etc., but we don't follow any of the traditional gender role ideologies. My wife tends to be a bit more on the conservative and traditional side, where I'm a bit more liberal. And I mean, doesn't the same apply for Christianity?" Someone says go back home. OP says, "I've told my son that I'll be home by tomorrow. I'll just be gone for 2 days." Someone else says, "There had to have been red flags earlier than this." And OP replies, "I mean, before this, the only red flag I saw was her constantly just ignoring me if we had a disagreement, but usually that was for maybe max 2 days. This was the first time she did that for a longer period of time." The crux of the issue. OP says, the fact that she would be home relaxing isn't the issue. It's the fact that we now have to significantly cut down on our current expenses, and I'm not even sure if my company is willing to let me work 100%. Another commenter says, this Tradwife shit is cult-level batshit crazy. The women who are indebted to Tradwife culture out of some desire to be more valued and have fewer outside-of-the-home responsibilities, and the men who encourage women to be or become Tradwives out of some weird chauvinist nostalgia for the family dynamics of the 40s to 60s, and an insecure need to fully control their wife and household, are codependent wrecks and borderline sociopaths, respectively. I feel so bad that you've been hit so hard by this. I imagine that it'd be like figuring out one of your parents went down the QAnon rabbit hole, or worse. You should split up with her, absolutely. Beyond a certain point, there is no reasoning with these people. OP replies, thank you, but I don't think that this post should spread hate to those who currently are or were Tradwives. It's a completely acceptable type of relationship if both parties agree to it, and that's my primary issue with all of this. Arrow Eagle AC says, nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home parent, but your partner has to agree to it, and you don't get to strong-arm them into it. This level of blatant manipulation would be a deal-breaker for me, not the asshole. Not to mention, someone is using an 11-year-old boy as emotional blackmail. How else does he know that OP has threatened divorce? Wife has absolutely no respect for OP or their partnership. I can't see how she can recover from this. I'd divorce her and let her work 100% of the time to pay her own bills. That's what made me sad. She used the boy, emotionally scarring him just to manipulate the husband. That is low. I'd leave. That is manipulative as hell. Let her be a Tradwife with some other sucker. And she immediately told the kids what was happening? Manipulation at its finest. Never involve the kids in adult issues. That would be the final straw for me. I would be done, OP, not the asshole. Yup, I hope that OP gets a good lawyer, because she's definitely the type to try parental alienation. Quote, you'll get over it. She don't give an F about you, dude. Not one single solitary flying fuck. The only reason she wants you back at the house is because you'd be the one paying the bills, not the asshole. She wants him back in the house as she will need to work more than she was to pay the bills on her own. Yep, I'm absolutely on OP's side in this one. There were 3 questions asked previously, so I'm going to answer them. Should I just swallow my pride and let my wife stay at home from now on? No. Should I follow through in divorcing her? Probably yes, given how messy this has all become in such a short period of time. How should I navigate this situation? Figure out what the hell is going on with her, why she did it, and where you can go from here as a couple. And if there is no good solution, you probably have to divorce her because she's already shown that she's going to unilaterally decide that she can do things and get away with it. What else will she do in the future, OP? Am I the asshole here? Absolutely not. You're a champion for sticking it out and, kind of giving the situation the chance that it deserves. But I think that your patience needs to wear thin at some point in the future with this. And now, onto the updates. First of all, I just want to thank you guys for the overwhelming support I've received. I've received a ton of messages, but please be patient with me. This week has definitely been tough on me. The whole family drama has definitely taken a toll on me, physically and mentally. I just want to add a few crucial details that I forgot to mention in my original post. I suffer from a genetic heart condition that puts me at risk to stress-induced cardiac arrest. I used to work full-time, but was forced to cut down on my work after suffering a silent heart attack. This was nearly a decade ago, but since then, I've worked on my own physical and mental well-being. Some people didn't understand me constantly mentioning why it was such an issue, working the extra 20%. Honestly, I don't know how much time I have left, and my kids are the most important things in my life. For my own mental health, it is essential that I get to spend time with my kids throughout the week. Besides my wife and kids, I have nothing. I hate my effing job and purely continue for the sake of my kids and wife. Well, after spending a day at my parents' house, eventually I felt enough time had passed for me to gather my thoughts on everything. What she did seemed like the ultimate slap in the face, but I went back with the intention to resolve this and didn't want to escalate this effing nightmare. My wife seemed happy that I returned, but she wasn't apologetic at all. The kids, especially my son, were ecstatic. That sort of made me ignore the lack of remorse for the time being. That same night, after putting my kids to bed, I told her that we need to have a serious discussion. I told her how I felt about everything that she did. The fact that she knows about my health condition and still went through with it. The fact that I set clear boundaries and she still chose to quit her job without my consent. How the fact that she told my son that I was going to abandon the family really felt like a stab in the back. How throughout all of this, she didn't even seem remorseful once. The fact that she chose her own happiness to the detriment of mine. The fact that I sacrificed so much for the family and I got repaid like this. The fact that we now as a family have to make major lifestyle changes since a third of our family income has vanished. For a split second, I saw an ounce of sadness in her eyes before she went right back to being annoyed with me. I then simply told her to lay out her half of the story. Here is a summary of what she said. She felt ignored by me constantly rejecting her proposal. She had worked long enough, and this was finally the time for her to enjoy her life as a true wife. She also said that I was being a baby about the whole spending extra time with the kids thing. That really pissed me off, and we ended up getting into a heated argument. I couldn't bear any of it anymore, and just ended up sleeping in the guest room. Until yesterday, nothing changed. She constantly tried to play everything off and wanted to embrace her new role by constantly trying to have sex with me and by making me my favorite dishes. It just felt like she was trying to manipulate me again, and I wasn't having any of it. I just kept on sleeping in the guest room. Well, my birthday was yesterday, and after work, my wife and kids picked me up and we ate dinner together. This was probably the first time that I genuinely had a smile on my face in a week. Well, that smile vanished because she tried to seduce me again later that night. I rejected her, and to my surprise, she had a full-on mental breakdown. I just held her as she started apologizing for what she did. She claims she didn't understand how much she hurt me, she was sorry for making me feel like an afterthought, etc. We ended up sleeping in the same bed yesterday. I feel like things were finally moving in the right direction, and I again asked her about searching for a new job today. Instead of getting mad, she just replied with, "I need to think about it." Yeah, that's where things are as of today. It feels like progress is being made, but I don't know, this just might be another manipulation tactic of hers. I'll probably make a final update in a month or so. Reddit isn't doing my mental health any favors. How would you guys move forward in this situation? Could I have done something better? Is she being genuine? A commenter says, if you're still questioning things at this point, respectfully, take your effing head out of your ass. And OP says, I guess you're hinting at divorce. Let me make it more clear for you. In our culture, divorce is the last resort and is extremely frowned upon, and especially if there are kids involved. I want to fix this. If she shows no improvement after I've tried everything, then yes, I will go for divorce. She's not even being a good trad wife since they're supposedly meant to put their husband's needs ahead of their own, but she's definitely putting her wants ahead of your needs. It sounds like you really need couples counseling. OP says, she believes that my needs solely revolve around sex. That's the problem. She has always been like this. She F's up or wants something from me equals trying to screw me 24/7. When she came to you with her issue, what did you do to help find a solution? OP says, I constantly told her that she can reduce her hours if she wants. That's fine with me. Being at home 24/7 without my consent is where I draw the line. Do you have life insurance? OP says, yes, I work for an insurance company. And on couples counseling, OP says, thank you. Couples therapy can definitely help. In the comments, Sugar Bacon Bits says, do not take any more hours at work or change your schedule at all. Keep doing what's best for you and make other changes around the house as needed to make up for the lack of income. If you pick up more hours, she will see that you can, and in her mind, will further justify her actions where it's okay. She for sure won't make any effort to find a job after that. Instead, cut out frivolous things that she does with money since she's the one who gave up her part of the income, like getting her nails done, hair done, buying extra clothing and accessories that aren't a necessity. She can cut costs and do some of the things at home for a fraction of the price. Tell her that she needs to start clipping coupons and buying things on sale and not at full price. If she wants to not contribute financially, then she'll need to contribute more than just making food, cleaning the house, and trying to have sex with you all the time. She will have to sacrifice living at the level of comfort that she's grown accustomed to because the money for it isn't there anymore. Do you actually think that she's looking for a job? Here is a hint. She's not. As far as she's aware, you folded and she won. She doesn't need to work anymore, and you are footing all the bills. Opie's wife is vile and manipulative, especially to weaponize their kids, but she also probably knows that Opie is extremely resistant to getting divorced and is therefore unhappily tolerating her shit. She's going to try to wear him down, and I'm concerned that Opie will let her, considering that he refuses to consider divorce and wants to fix it. Choo-choo, this train wreck is still going. Wife is definitely a narcissist, and I honestly would not be surprised if she's actually trying to work him to death for his life insurance. Opie needs to pull the band-aid off and just divorce her already. Cultural implications be damned. Yeah, I think that this is just another manipulation tactic. She's not genuine in her approach. She's just doing and saying anything to get her way. Opie does seem to be falling for it. I want him to get out of there. I want him to divorce. I do. I don't care how frowned upon it is. It's either he stays in the boiling pot of hot water as a little lobster that's going to die in that hot water pot, or he escapes and amicably co-parents and doesn't put his kids through a messy future of staying together with your wife and, things just being shit. OP, please wake up and just do what's right for your kids, man. Please. Our next post is by user Powerful Argument 15, titled, I threw away my husband's collection and now he won't speak to me. My husband considers himself an art connoisseur when he's not. He filled his home office and the hallway with his collection, which he inherited from his grandfather. The point is that his grandfather got scammed and most of the paintings, statuettes, and artifacts, fake guns, books, ship models, are fakes or reproductions. Very few real pieces. My husband knows, but he liked it as a kid, and so he kept it, adding stuff to it over the years. He always bought fakes or repros too, saying he likes how they look and he wouldn't bankrupt us like that. To be honest, I couldn't stand that assortment of random knickknacks, especially because they aren't worth a thing. His hallway and office look like a kid's idea of a museum. He was away on a trip 2 weeks ago, and I seized the occasion to put all the stuff in storage and give a restyling to his office. I figured he'd get upset, but eventually accept it. When he came back, he got silent. I reassured him that I didn't throw away any of his knickknacks, I just put them in storage, and that I liked his room much better now, and his grandmother should have done the same for his grandfather. He said that the rest of the house is already in my style, and he accepted it, but the office and hallway were his space. I reassured him that he will like it better with time, but a week has passed and he looks depressed. He stopped spending time in his room, barely talks to me, and even refuses intimacy. He acts indifferent and told me that I can get rid of the few things that I kept. I'm starting to think that I overstepped. Did I make a mistake? I'm considering apologizing and getting his stuff back in his office. In the comments, Uneven Glow says, yeah, you disrespected him big time. OP says, I see that now. I will apologize and bring back his stuff. I'm also going to ask him to display some stuff in the living room. Sleepy Dreamer says, you did overstep. This is major disrespect. These things were important to him, and it doesn't matter if you like them or not. Even if it was the ugliest object that you have ever seen, you should still accept his feelings about it. This is about something more than just objects. This is showing him that his opinion doesn't matter to you and that he can't trust you. You should apologize immediately and let him know that you really do realize that it was a wrong thing to do. Yes, you made a mistake. You have been crapping on his hobby for a long time, and now you finally took the final step and converted his space into what you want. How selfish of you! Not only should you apologize, you should help him restore his space and buy him a few bad art pieces that he would like. Back up to the post, there is an update. Guys, I hear you. I effed up big time, and I know it. I'll ask him if he can forgive me, and I'll get back all his stuff. I'll also offer to display some more of his stuff in the living room as a peace offering. Yeah, I think this is very much a similar one to the last story. Wife does something unilaterally that the husband doesn't agree with, and the expected result occurs. At least in this situation, OP has enough dignity to reverse their decision and apologize, and even go one step further and start displaying some of the art pieces in the living room, letting him express himself some more instead of her just controlling everything. Let's hope that in the update, the expected result also occurs where things go back to normal and peace is restored. Unlike that first story, oh my god. And now, onto the update. Hey guys, I know I screwed up big time and your comments just reinforced that feeling. I went to my husband, gave him a massive apology, and told him I would really like to get back his collection and get his office and hallway like they were before. I also apologized for going behind his back and violating his safe space the way that I did. I also offered to let him display some pieces in our bedroom and living room, and next time he spots something he would like to add to his collection, I'm paying for it. He accepted my apology and forgave me. We spent the afternoon getting his stuff back in place. It's not worth it to create a rift between us for this. I might not like his taste in art, but I love this man, and if he's happy, then I'm happy too. Thank you all for the comments and the tough love. I really needed it. In the comments, Overrated New 0423 says, I didn't read or respond to the first post, but wow, what a wholesome and mature response that you evolved into. Yes, you way overstepped and were rude AF, but your response to him and here shows that you're a better human than most. Good for you for accepting growth and seeing what is truly important. She learned and is taking accountability. That's more than what a lot of people brought up here can do. I imagine that she won't be treating him all that poorly again. She didn't learn anything at all. It's not worth it to create a rift between us for this. She still thinks that she gets to control his space and interests. Don't you get it? It's not worth it. Means that she still thinks that she's right. Something you also might want to reflect on is the mentality that you had saying, yes, you're upset now, but in time you'll realize that I'm right. I wonder if there are other places in your relationship where you do this to him. Basically, this sounds like a pretty entitled and superior mindset where you think that if you're right and he's wrong, you can just do whatever you want because he'll eventually realize the error of his ways. You mentioned that his grandmother should have done this to his grandfather. Was this kind of behavior something that you noticed in your own family growing up? Quote, he was away on a trip 2 weeks ago, and I seized the occasion to put all the stuff in storage and give a restyling to his office. OP knew damn well they were the asshole. They were just banking on their husband being too much of a pushover to do anything about it. Quote, I figured he'd get upset, but eventually accept it. I reassured him he will like it better with time. Oh, she was definitely banking on him being a doormat. I'm just glad she didn't actually toss the things out. The idea that she let him display his items in the main living area as a favor or as an apology is messed up. Clearly, she didn't have too much of a change of heart. Quote, to be honest, I couldn't stand that assortment of random knickknacks, especially because they aren't worth a thing. Not surprising, she hates his stuff. She probably thinks that it's a huge concession on her part in letting him display his items outside of his office and hallway. Hates his stuff and clearly doesn't respect him or his wants and comforts. This is a wild story. Unless I'm misreading, the title is the only place that she says she actually threw it away, right? The body of the post says that she put it in storage and describes them putting it back in the office. At least that's good. The things from his grandfather would have been truly irreplaceable. I'm glad she apologized and seemingly had this change of heart, but I'm not feeling good about how it took the internet to convince her to show an interest in her husband's hobbies. She took all of this out and acted like it was a favor? Told him his grandma should have done the same? She knew that it was wrong because she waited until he was gone for 2 weeks to do it. She told him that he would get used to it. It is painful how dismissive she sounds in the first post. I don't want to deny someone the opportunity to grow if they're sorry, but I'm very concerned that she had to have this wake-up call to begin with. Also, knick-knack museums can be pretty cool. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.